Positive signs for Boro in a much improved performance, but still the first win eludes us.
As the Uruguayan curls one in. Oh, Middlesbrough take the lead!
What is up, guys? Matthew here. Welcome to another episode of Project Boro. Today looking back at Boro's 1-1 draw with Huddersfield Town. A game which Boro were much more improved on the opening two fixtures. The team looked a lot more balanced, we looked a lot more creative, we looked a lot more threatening going forward. We had some unbelievable chances and only conceded to another really unlucky goal in which the way it went in. But them missed chances meant that the wait for the first win still goes on, and despite obviously looking at the table, seeing that we've only picked up 1 point from the opening 3 games, there were big positives to take out of this game. I think first half especially, I thought Boro were very, very creative. We were playing on the front foot. We looked a little bit more like the old Boro team of last season, and yes, we're playing a Huddersfield Town side who aren't the greatest, but you can only play what's in front of you, and I thought we created very, very well, had some really good chances. And the Huddersfield goalkeeper made some pretty good saves. He saved a shot from force. I think there was a good bit of interplay from Hayden Hackney and Morgan Rogers, and he made a very good save there. And we kept getting into some really, really good areas. And the fact we were creating these chances was a huge positive. And the team just across the board looked a lot more balanced. So for me, I think there were certainly improvements in that first half. And all it was lacking was the goal that we'd been waiting for since the start of the season, the goal we still hadn't got in our opening 2.5 games, as it were. And, I come out the second half feeling pretty optimistic, feeling like if Boro just kept doing what they would do, they would get the breakthrough eventually. And if we did get the breakthrough and we got the opening goal, the floodgates might open and we might get 2 or 3. But that was not the case because, again, and it's annoying, because we've conceded from really low expected goal chances so far this season, in my opinion. And it happened again here. Huddersfield, they defended well in the first half, hadn't posed too much of a threat going the other way. I think Dieng had to make one or two decent saves, but nothing too major. I think they did hit the post at one point, but again, that come from a cross that ricocheted around the box and had to fall to a Huddersfield player. That would have been very harsh on Boro, I think, had that of being a goal conceded. He had to make one good save from Danny Ward first half, but other than that, I thought Huddersfield, they huffed, they puffed. Boro's defence still not looking particularly reliable. I still say we look shaky at times, but we weren't put under much pressure, and we found ourselves 1-0 behind because on the 47th minute, literally 2 minutes into the second half, Huddersfield get a corner, and to be fair to us, I think we defended set pieces relatively well throughout the game, given the fact that that was probably the place I was most worried about Huddersfield possibly getting at us was from a set piece, a free kick or a corner. And a corner's whipped in, near post, no Huddersfield player anywhere near it. It bounces off Fry's knee, hits the post and goes in. And I'm sat there thinking, I couldn't see it properly from where I was sat at the other end of the ground, but I wasn't sure if it was an own goal or if it was a corner that had just gone straight in. But I'm sat there in the ground thinking, we've literally been the better team. We've created, it's just not fell for us. That lucky ricochet, that bounce, that rebound, whatever it may be. And it's just typical that they get a corner that goes all the way through, hits one of our defenders, hits the post, and goes in. I was sat there thinking, this is just absolutely typical of our start to the season, that we went 1-0 down. We, again, like against Coventry last week, I didn't feel like we deserved to be 1-0 down in that game either. When Gordon scored, we didn't deserve to be 1-0 down here, but we were. Huddersfield nicked a goal from absolutely nothing, and all of a sudden Boro were up against it. And if there was a period in this game where I was a little bit concerned, it was the initial 10 minutes following their goal, because I think the frustration and the shock of undeservedly going behind certainly set in amongst the fans in the stands, and I think the players on the pitch. And we just got very reckless and messy in them next 10 minutes. A game that we were well in control of, a game we had control of, suddenly went completely chaotic. And in the 10 minutes afterwards, we were just playing desperate balls long, trying to force it, I feel. I think the fans, obviously being frustrated, forced the players to maybe play a few passes or long balls that they normally wouldn't have. And there was a 10-minute spell after Huddersfield scored where I was really worried that we were going to concede again, and then that would have just been it. Game over, the world would have ended within the stadium. But we got through that period afterwards, settled down again, and began to take control of the game once more. And it was on the 61st minute when Boro finally got their opening goal of the season. Thank heavens. And it was a pretty special one from Hayden Hackney. You know, sometimes Boro could be culpable of trying to walk the ball in at times and score that perfect goal. But I just loved the fact that Hackney coming off the right-hand side. It was just after Morgan Rogers had a shot saved, another great save by their goalkeeper, and the ball from Hackney to set him up was pretty special as well, and Rogers maybe should have done a bit better with that, but we recycled the ball. Hackney cuts in from the left and just thinks, I'm going to absolutely thunderbastard this, and he almost took the net off. It was a pretty fine strike from Hackney, who'd had a decent game up until that point, could have had a goal in the first half, you know, nearly set up Rogers in the second, and what a strike from Hackney. An absolutely unbelievable effort, and we were finally off the mark, and still with half an hour to go, I thought, right, let's go, let's take this game by the scruff of the neck and get this game won, because I feel like we deserved it. And just the most frustrating thing is that we just could not get the winning goal. Latilaf was played in. I think that might have been the really good ball by Hackney. I'm not too sure if it was the Rogers chance or the Latilaf chance, but regardless if it was Hackney, a wonderful ball played through the middle, and I'll talk more about Latilaf and our new signings who did play in a little bit. But yeah, I was desperate for him to score. I was behind the goal. I was desperate. I thought, this is perfect. We've got the game by the scruff of the neck. We've finally got going. We've got on the score sheet, and now our new signing's going to get his first goal. It was all just suddenly perfect and rosy and amazing, but he just delayed too long and should have pulled the trigger. Didn't. Left it another second. I don't know if he tried to dink the keeper. He went with his left instead of his right, and the keeper made another good save, one of his many good saves in this game. And I thought that was the chance to win it. But an even bigger chance come late on. And, you know, Boro were pushing and pushing and pushing. A great bit of play from McGree. Isaiah Jones, to his credit, with one of his vintage low crosses across the box. And I hate to not pile on him, but for the second week running, Sammy Silvera misses an absolute sitter. I could not believe he'd missed the target here. Obviously, he had the one against Cov, which was easier than this, that he skied. But again, here, I don't know why he's trying to put his laces through it. I don't know if he's trying to put it in top bins or what. Sammy, like last week, just keep the ball down. Keep it down. Get it on target. It's easy for me to say, yes, I know, but come on. Yeah, he needs to keep the ball down, get it on target, and chances are it goes either side of the keeper. And Boro win the game, and it's 2-1, and we come from behind, win the game. A couple of new boys get on the score sheet. Hackney scores a great goal. It's all rosy. But it wasn't to be, and we end up drawing the game 1-1. And my first initial thoughts coming out of the ground was I was very frustrated, because on the face of it, the natural reaction, I guess you could say, or the reactionary thing to do is to look at the table and think, wow, 3 games in, 1 point, 1 goal, and we've drew against a team like Huddersfield at home, and we've missed sitters and chances we should have put away. That's your natural, very reactive reaction. But looking back at the game, lots of improvements with the way we played. I still think there were times where we were a little bit slow, a little bit passive. Unfortunate with the goal to concede. I can't really put anyone to blame for that, other than maybe we should have got the ball cleared at the near post rather than let it bounce. But yeah, other than that, improvements across the park. The team just looked a lot more balanced, in my opinion. Players playing in their more natural position, and it just made us a more fluid, effective, attacking team. And on another day, 9 times out of 10, we probably win that game. 2-1, maybe even 3-1, maybe even 4-1. So, although on paper the result is what matters and we didn't get it, there is improving signs there that Boro are getting back towards where we were, but we need to build on this. It's pointless going into the West Brom game next week, playing like we did against Coventry and getting beat. It's pointless if that's what happens. We need to build on this performance now and take the positives, because there were far more positives than there were negatives. It's just a shame we didn't get the 3 points we deserved. Looking at the team then, there was new boys in from the off. We had Senny Dieng in goal, a back four, which was very different from what we've had recently. So Lenihan and Fry was still there in the middle. Rav Vandenberg played on the right, to my surprise, for Paddy McNair, who wasn't in the squad. A lot of people thought that might be because of maybe some transfers, but Carrick said, at least, that he wasn't in the squad because of a cut head he got against Coventry. Whether that's true, whether that's an excuse because he is moving on, I don't know. But I thought Rav did particularly well on that right-hand side. And then we had Lucas Engel, our new signing at left-back, in off the left. Hackney and Howson were in the middle, so Howson in for Barlasser, which I was pretty much calling for. And then a 3 of Silvera on the left. We had Morgan Rogers as the 10 this week, with Force on the right, and our new signing Emmanuel Latilath up front. And as I said, this team was just far more balanced. I think Senny, as he does, had a very good game. He's been unlucky not to get a clean sheet as yet. And was unlucky again not to get one here, but I think did well, made a good save first half, didn't have much else to do. The centre-back pairing did well. I think they played the ball out from the back quite well at times. I think Dale Fry, there were times where he had gaping holes in the midfield where I wish he just drove into a bit more, and maybe he didn't pick out the right pass at times. But they did okay. Fry unlucky with the own goal, and to be fair to Rav, I think he still isn't our natural right-back, but I thought he did no worse than what McNair's been doing in that position and looked very, very good. Given the fact he's a 19-year-old playing what isn't his natural position, he did very well, so fair play to him. And Lucas Engel, it was a steady opening game for him. Carrick did say due to the man-marking system that Huddersfield utilised, he couldn't get forward as much and was told not to get forward as much because of the man-marking system Huddersfield adopted. But I think did okay. A couple of nervy passes, a couple of moments where I think his teammates would be expecting him to play a ball in there, and he wasn't there, and maybe wasn't as far forward as maybe he should have been at times. But that will only improve as he sort of gets new relationships with his teammates and builds that chemistry. Howson and Hackney, I think just having Johnny Howson in the midfield just makes me feel better about things, and having him in there was amazing. And I definitely keep Howson in there for me. I think he has to start in the midfield, and maybe you can rotate between Hackney and Barlasser. But Hackney, although I still think at times, maybe gave the ball away. I think you got to expect that when he's playing in a midfield like Boro's. But yeah, he played some really good, positive through balls to the forwards and took his goal exceptionally well. So very well played to Hayden Hackney. Force, I think, did well. Couldn't get into the game as much. Had a good shot first half. And Silvera, well, I think he struggled today, Sammy. He was trying to influence the game. He did get an assist, I guess, for the Hackney goal. But again, gilt edge sitter missed once again. And he seems like a confidence player. So for me, it might be worth taking Silvera out for the next game. But personally, I'd start McGree anyway. I was quite surprised to see McGree not starting the second game in a row. So for me, as much as Sammy is a threat, I think maybe after the 2 games he's had and the 2 chances he's missed, I think McGree should come back in for the West Brom game. And then we had Morgan Rogers as the number 10. And as I've mentioned in our first 2 games, the big glaring square pegs, I guess, in round holes was the fact that Rogers was up front, Crooks was at 10. We've been crying out to see Rogers at 10 because he just seems so much better picking the ball up in that deep position, running at players, dragging defenders in. He's agile, he's strong, and he was fantastic. He was fantastic at number 10. And I'm not going to go as far as to say he's a Chuba Akpom replacement because it's too early to say, and I don't think Rogers will replace Akpom's goal tally. I don't think many players would. But in terms of picking up the ball, floating around and linking play, and being a danger in and around the final third, I think Rogers is ready-made to maybe take on that mantle and that position, and we might not have to fork out a huge amount of money to replace Akpom in that position. Maybe we use the money we've got for Akpom to invest in another position to get goals somewhere else, like a centre forward possibly. And yeah, I thought Rogers, very good today, did very, very well. And then our new boy up front, Emmanuel Latilath, what an exciting player he is. I mean, he's a bit of a live wire, a bit of a maverick. Decision making at times can be a bit questionable. I think when he's running at defenders and he's got a player to his right, a player to his left, he probably won't make the right decision more times than not. So I think there are times where maybe he'll be a little bit too energetic. Sometimes I think his legs are too quick for his head. But what a menace he'll be for defenders. He was dragging the Huddersfield backline left, right and centre. He was making some really good runs in behind. He's quick as well. I think he'll torture, especially high defences. He'll torture them. Obviously, Huddersfield was sitting a bit deeper, but he can take the ball and run with it and hold off his man as well. So I'm very positive signs from Lattilath, and I think Engel will come good as well. But for me, Lattilath looked very, very good. What I will say, he was brought off for Matt Crooks, and I think if you're not gonna rely heavily on just Lattilath, which we can't, you can't be bringing on Matt Crooks as his replacement. We still, for me, need another forward up front to help Lattilath carry the load. But yeah, he come on, Crooks. I was a bit surprised, but he was our striker when Lattilath went off. That's still an area where we have to bring in another centre forward, I think, for me. McGree come on, looked good, should have started, and Isaiah Jones didn't have much time to influence the game. However, he should have had an assist if Silvera hadn't missed the sitter. As you can see by the momentum, Boro had it for the most part. Huddersfield had spells, but overall Boro had the possession. Expected goals 2.1. Should have got the second goal on the winner. 17 shots, 3 big chances, and only got 1 goal from it, which, you know, is a little bit annoying. But you compare Boro to the games against Coventry and Millwall, and it's a far improved performance. So I just hope we take this forward into our next game and still try and develop the squad in the final third for me. But the defence, the back four, looks a lot more solid. Midfield does too with Housen in there, and I'm liking Force, McGree, Silvera, Rodgers. I'm liking all that, but I would like another forward up front and maybe another number 10 to be that creative player. So yeah, table-wise, it doesn't look good for Boro. Obviously, we're still yet to get off the mark in terms of wins, but here's hoping we can continue to add to the squad and move in that positive direction and not be too many points behind the teams we're wanting to catch and not playing too much catch-up like we were last season, as of course you've got some sides who are on 9 points, 7 points, 6 points. It's still early days. I'm not getting too worried. I'm not going to overreact like a lot of Boro fans are. I think on paper, again, it doesn't look great, but the positive signs certainly are there. And we head to West Brom next week, which is a game I'm a little bit worried about, not going to lie. I always get a little bit worried when we play Carlos Corberán and any of his sides, and of course we were beaten at West Brom last season quite badly when we were in the middle of a good spell. So fingers crossed we can get a good result from there. But yeah, work in progress. Good signs from Boro, but 2 points dropped because we couldn't take our chances. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you're a Boro fan of this performance, whether you're a Huddersfield fan or whoever, a neutral, let me know your thoughts on the performance and the result. And fingers crossed we can start moving in the right direction now. Still plenty of time to get points on the board, and also plenty of time still to get signings in the door as well. So like this video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe for much more Project Boroughs. I will be bringing you, of course, a Project Borough after every game that Borough play, as well as roundup videos of the Championship and whatever else happens in the world of Borough. Comment below your thoughts as always. A big thank you for watching, guys. Do take care, and I'll see you all next time.